don't forget to keep it positive, even if she's not very good at it at first. Hi guys, welcome back to Sweetie Pie Pets. Today, Mila is going to help us demonstrate part of the leash training process. So how hard is it to leash train your Chihuahua? So some of you guys might remember my little Mila, and she arrived earlier this year, and we've been working with her on some of her training, including leash training. Leash training for Chihuahuas, just to keep in mind, is something that's kind of a slow process. You can't just expect that it's going to happen overnight. You have to take your time and do it at their pace. So what we've been doing up until now is simply teaching her how to walk around with a harness on. That's the first stage of leash training, is just getting used to wearing a harness if you're going to use that, or a collar if you prefer. I like to use a harness as opposed to using a collar because a collar can just slip off very easily. They can kind of just get really stubborn and pull back and kind of slip it over their head. And also, I just feel like a collar is something that can be like a choking hazard. And I would prefer to have like a harness that goes around their body as opposed to something that just goes around their neck. So this is the harness that we've been using. Some of you guys might recognize this harness, which definitely is showing its wear by now. It's getting a little bit dirty. It's gone camping on some of our dogs and been outside and been all kinds of places. So it's starting to show its age, but it still works awesome. And I really love this particular harness because it has Velcro as opposed to snaps or like a specific size. So the Velcro allows it to be sort of adjustable, which is something that we definitely need for Mila, because Mila is starting to get a little bit chunky. Mila, you fat. Which is all the more reason to leash train her, because she needs to start going on some walks. Or maybe even on the treadmill. Mila, you can go on the treadmill with Mommy. Well, that's for later. So Mila, put your harness on. She's already been walking around for the last several days with her harness on. And then recently we even added the leash to the back of the harness, but we didn't pick it up or try to teach her or lead her or anything. We just let her drag it around. So here's Mila with her lovely little pretty harness. She's doing really good walking around, and she has pretty much stopped trying to get it off. Because of course, when you first put a harness or a shirt or clothes or anything on your Chihuahua, they're probably gonna be like, what is that? Take it off. And they're gonna try very hard to take it off. But at this point, she's already gotten used to wearing it, and she doesn't really try to take it off because she knows it's not gonna come off. So obviously, after she's walked around with the harness for a few days, as I said, the next step would be to actually attach the leash. Please forgive me for how dirty it is. It has gone camping and outdoors also. So I just simply attached the leash to the harness, and for several days I simply let her walk around dragging the leash behind her. Just get her used to the sensation of having that extra weight that she has to carry around. So once she has on the harness and the leash, if you want to like practice with her, you know, kind of walking with that extra weight, it's good to have a second person that you can call back and forth and just have her walking back and forth with a little bit of a treat. If you have a second person that's got a treat and you call her, she'll probably go over there. Mila, I see Daddy over there with a treat. You gonna go get it? What's that? Go get the treat. Come here. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, do you want a treat? Oh, Mila. So as you can see, or maybe you can't because she's already off camera, she's gotten pretty good at walking around with the leash on. At this point, she acts like she doesn't even notice that it's there. Mila. By the way, make sure that you always keep it a positive experience. You don't want your Chihuahua to get any kind of emotional trauma or like feel like the leash or the harness or collars or anything are some sort of a punishment. So it's supposed to always be a positive experience between you and your Chihuahua. Good girl. Use positive reinforcement as opposed to negative reinforcement. So now that we've had several days of wearing the harness and the leash, dragging around behind her, for the very first time, we are going to take Mila outside and we're going to try walking her on a leash. Make sure when you do this with your Sweetie Pie that you have treats in your hand and that you keep it positive and that your Chihuahua is happy and thinks that it's a fun experience. So I took Mila out for her first walk in the backyard on a leash. She knows to follow my hand after lots and lots of practice. The trick now was just to get her to walk where I walk. Mila is always eager to please and keeps looking up at me and watching. It's so adorable. So my next step was to lay out some treats every few feet apart and see if she would walk from one to the next. But as you can see, she was more intent on watching me and my hand. A few toe taps showed her where to get the treats. I kept her on my right side throughout the exercise, which is what I prefer. Every dog owner will be different. It's up to you. After 5 to 10 minutes, Mila was doing really well following my lead, and I would say our day was a success. I hope you guys enjoyed Mila's leash training session. If you guys are working to leash train your sweetie pie, please keep in mind that it just requires a lot of patience. It's not something that you're gonna just be able to do in a single session or even like over a period of a week. It needs to be done consistently, day after day, maybe even up to like 4 or 5 weeks, depending on your sweetie pie's stubbornness and intelligence. I, for one, think that Mila did an excellent job. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Sweetie Pie Pets. Bye-bye. Mommy love you. What a good girl. Don't forget to keep it positive, even if she's not very good at it.